You're showing no signs of slowing down because you're returning to Vegas, aren't you?
I am. I'm looking forward to this. I think we've got it planned well to where I can stay healthy.
Parton is postponing her Las Vegas concert set for this December. On X, the singer says she's dealing with health issues and her doctors advise she needs a few procedures. The country icon says she won't be able to rehearse and prepare for her Vegas shows.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living.
This morning, Dolly Parton is explaining her decision to delay her upcoming Las Vegas residency by more than 9 months, citing health challenges.
Dolly Parton took to her social media accounts on September 28th with that unmistakable mixture of warmth and humor. The world wasn't expecting heartbreak. The country legend, who's outlasted fashion trends, music eras, and more than half a century in the spotlight, has always seemed larger than life. Part angel, part rhinestone warrior, forever glowing no matter what the circumstances. But this time was different. She wasn't announcing a new album, another philanthropic initiative, or a surprise collaboration with a pop star. She was announcing something she has almost never had to say in her entire career.
She says, "My doctors tell me that I must have a few procedures. As I joke with them, it must be time for my 100,000-mile checkup, although it's not the usual trip to see my plastic surgeon. In all seriousness, given this, I am not going to be able to rehearse and put together the show that I want you to see, and the show that you deserve to see."
She was pressing pause. Her long-awaited Las Vegas residency, her grand return to the Strip after more than 3 decades, was postponed indefinitely. The reason, she explained with a mix of honesty and playfulness, was a few medical procedures she had to undergo. She didn't reveal exactly what was wrong, but for a woman who built a life on giving the world everything she had, even a hint of vulnerability felt seismic. At 79 years old, Dolly Parton was facing serious health challenges, and for the first time, she had to cancel all her shows to focus on herself. The residency had been planned as a crown jewel in Dolly's late career resurgence. 6 shows set for December 4th through 13th at the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace promised a sweeping retrospective of her 7 decades in music. She was going to belt out 9 to 5, Jolene, I Will Always Love You, Coat of Many Colors, and so many other classics under the glittering lights of Las Vegas, a city that hadn't seen a proper Dolly takeover since the early 1990s. Tickets had gone on sale in June, and fans from around the world had scrambled to secure seats. Many planned to travel across the country, some even internationally, for what they thought might be one of the last chances to see the icon perform in such an intimate, historic setting. Hotels were booked, flights were arranged, sequined outfits were planned. The Vegas run was shaping up to be more than just a series of concerts. It was an event, a celebration of resilience and legacy. And then, with one carefully worded statement, Dolly shifted the mood entirely. I want the fans and public to hear directly from me that, unfortunately, I will need to postpone my upcoming Las Vegas concerts, she wrote. As many of you know, I have been dealing with some health challenges, and my doctors tell me that I must have a few procedures. As I joked with them, it must be time for my 100,000-mile checkup, although it's not the usual trip to see my plastic surgeon. It was classic Dolly, a line so disarmingly funny that it made the news easier to swallow. She has always known how to sugarcoat pain with a laugh, to disarm fear with self-deprecation, but she didn't hide the seriousness of it either. In all seriousness, she continued, given this, I am not going to be able to rehearse and put together the show that I want you to see and the show that you deserve to see. You pay good money to see me perform, and I want to be at my best for you. There was a sincerity in that message that hit fans hard. Dolly isn't the kind of artist who mails it in. She's spent her entire life giving people their money's worth, and then some. Every wig, every joke, every gospel-tinged note has been delivered with precision and passion. To think that she would rather delay a sold-out Vegas residency than risk giving a less-than-perfect performance said everything about her work ethic, even at nearly 80 years old. But it also underscored something deeper. Dolly Parton, the woman who's become almost mythological, is still human. She still gets sick. She still has to listen to doctors. She still needs to slow down sometimes. The new dates for the residency were rescheduled for September 2026, giving her nearly a full year to recover and prepare. Original tickets will be honored, and refunds are available for those who can't make the new dates. For many fans, the announcement wasn't a deal breaker. It was a rallying cry. Social media lit up with messages of support, prayers, and gratitude. Take all the time you need, Dolly. We'll be here when you're ready, one fan wrote on X. Another said, she's given us everything. Now it's our turn to wait. It was striking to see how the news spread, not with panic, but with collective tenderness. In a music industry where stars often push themselves past the breaking point just to avoid disappointing fans, Dolly's choice to prioritize her health was seen not as weakness, but as wisdom. This news didn't arrive in a vacuum. Just months earlier, Dolly had opened up publicly about grieving the loss of her husband of 60 years. She'd spoken on Khloe Kardashian's podcast in July about taking a break from songwriting, saying that after his death, she needed time to process her emotions privately. For a woman who had shared stages with presidents, rock stars, and gospel choirs, that kind of personal reflection was rare. It painted a picture of someone who had spent her life giving and was finally, cautiously turning inward. And now, with this health announcement, that picture became clearer. She wasn't just postponing a show, she was acknowledging that even legends need rest. Still, Dolly's message was anything but bleak. While I'll still be able to work on all of my projects from here in Nashville, I just need a little time to get show ready, as they say, she reassured fans. And don't worry about me quitting the business, because God hasn't said anything about stopping yet. But I believe He is telling me to slow down right now, so I can be ready for more big adventures with all of you. I love you, and thank you for understanding. There it was again, that delicate balance between spiritual conviction and showbiz sparkle that only Dolly can pull off.
I do work hard, but I like to work, and I learned while I was off the road being sick that I will never retire.
I don't ever plan to retire though, so I'll always be doing this, making records and doing something in the business.
That's true. I'll never retire. I feel the same exact way. I love to work.
I just ask God to, to let me shine with His light and to touch people's lives and to bless us and keep us safe. And I just kind of, then by the time the spotlight hits me, I'm ready to go.
The residency had been set to mark a symbolic homecoming to Las Vegas. In the early 1990s, when Dolly last performed a run in the city, she was at a very different point in her life. She was still navigating her identity between pop crossover success and country traditionalism, experimenting with film roles and expanding her business empire quietly in the background. Now, decades later, she was returning as a living legend. She had conquered music, film, television, philanthropy, even rock, releasing a massive rock album in 2023 that saw her collaborating with icons from every corner of the genre. A Vegas residency wasn't just a concert series, it was a coronation. The Coliseum at Caesar's Palace had been preparing to host her like royalty. It's the same stage where Celine Dion redefined the residency model, where Adele made headlines for her emotionally raw performances, where Elton John took victory laps through his catalog. Dolly was set to join that lineage, turning the theater into a temple of country glitter and gospel joy. Her band and crew had been in rehearsals. Fans had been sharing setlist predictions, wondering which deep cut she might dust off for the occasion. This is going to be one for the ages. One insider had told a local Vegas outlet weeks before the announcement, and in a way, it still will be.
Over the weekend, the Queen of Country making that announcement about her scheduled Las Vegas concerts in December, Dolly Parton revealing that she needs to postpone those shows as she deals with some, quote, health challenges. The singer posted online writing, "My doctors tell me that I must have a few procedures. As I joked with them, it must be time for my 100,000-mile checkup, although it's not the usual trip to see my plastic surgeon."
Nice.
Dolly told her fans not to worry, that she doesn't have any plans to retire just yet, and that she'll continue to work on some projects just from her home in Nashville. Dolly.
Just not yet. Behind the jokes and the careful phrasing of her statement, there's a reality that Dolly's team has quietly acknowledged. The Strip will have to wait, the Coliseum will have to keep its lights ready for another year, and the fans will have to hold their tickets a little longer. Dolly's story has always been one of resilience wrapped in glitter. This chapter is no different, just quieter, more human, and in some ways, more powerful. Because watching an icon acknowledge her limits with grace and humor isn't just inspiring, it's profoundly moving. And when she finally returns to that stage, the roar of the crowd won't just be for the songs. It will be for the woman who dared to pause so she could shine again. We would love to hear what you think about this. Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content from us.